Good morning. Please join us in our gathering hymn, Stand As You're Able, number 21, For the Beauty of the Earth.
Good morning. My name is Rebecca Kay, and I'm a member of this congregation. Alexis Webb will light our chalice. Please join me in our chalice lighting words, which are found in your order of service. We light this chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, to remind us to connect in spirituality and service, to care for each other and the world, and to create loving community. I am thrilled this morning to welcome again our friend Demetrius Noble, better known as D. Noble. D is an activist, teacher, and a radical cultural worker. He currently serves as an adjunct professor in the African American and Diaspora Studies Department at UNC Greensboro. His research interests include Black liberation struggle, Black class antagonisms, African American literature, popular culture, and hip-hop studies. His work has been published in the African American Review, the Journal of Pan-African Studies, the Journal of Black Masculinity, Socialism and Democracy, Works and Days, Cultural Logic, Red Wedge, and other leftist digital and print publications. D. Noble is a member of Greensboro Revolutionary Socialists and is a cultural worker for Black Workers for Justice. Welcome, D. And next, I'm going to welcome our Director of Religious Education, Cindy Dillard, up to tell us a story.
This is a story that many of you may know, but I think that good stories merit retelling. This is a story that people believe came from Greece over 2,000 years ago, from a storyteller you might have heard of named Aesop. Some people know it as the farmer story, while others might know it as a bundle of sticks. There once was an old farmer who had a large, prosperous farm. Everyone in her village knew that her apples were the sweetest, her tomatoes were the juiciest, and her sheep's wool the softest. The farmer also had many children who helped on the farm. They were all strong and clever and hardworking. But there was one problem. Her children could not get along. They constantly fought with each other. They refused to work together and always found fault in what others were doing. This made the farmer worry terribly. She knew that when she died, the farm would be in serious trouble, because no matter how hardworking and smart her children were, they never would be able to agree on how to manage all the animals and crops. And try as she might to talk to them about how important it was to get along, no one would listen to her advice. So she came up with a plan. One night she called all her children to her bedroom and asked them all to bring 2 sticks with them. She asked them all to take one of their sticks in their hands and try to break it, which they easily did. Then she asked all the children to take their second stick and hand it to her. And she wrapped it in a bundle, and she passed the bundle around, asking each child to try to break it. Each tried, but none did. In this way, the children finally saw how fragile and easily breakable each of them would be if they only stood and worked alone. And they also saw how much strength they could give each other by standing and working together.
Welcome to worship at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Greensboro. Unitarian Universalists believe that each person has a trustworthy relationship with the Spirit, with the Holy, with the source of all life, with what some call God, though we name it and know it differently from one another. And we believe that because we are interconnected, nobody is free until we all are free. So we strive to build beloved community here on earth, in our fellowship with one another, and in our work for justice. And most of all, we believe that the spiritual dimension of life calls us to the social dimension of it. And it matters less what you personally believe, and so much more how we live together. Whether today is your first or your 1,000th Sunday with us, we are stronger because you are here. We are one people of many beliefs, many origins, sexualities, and genders. We are all growing, all learning, all loved. Our ministry team here at UUCG is Cindy Dillard, our Director of Children's and Youth Ministry, Colin McCrae, our Director of Music, and Senior Minister Reverend Sadie Lansdale. At this time, please make sure that you have silenced your phones and let us raise our voices together in our church covenant. A covenant contains the promises that we make to one another in response to the great gift of living, holding ourselves to these holy aspirations. Will you join me? We, the members of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Greensboro, do covenant to promote a search for personal meaning, respecting the individual truth in a community process of quest. Speak and act with caring, courtesy, and love, thereby maintaining emotional, physical, and spiritual safety for all. Support UUCG and denominational efforts with our resources. Combat injustice while promoting equality. Nurture our children on their spiritual journey. Hold ourselves to this covenant, especially during times of conflict and disagreement. And now please rise and body your spirit for our opening hymn at number 163 in the gray hymnal, For the Earth Forever Turning.
For our lives, for all regions.
If you are joining us in the sanctuary, won't you wave hello to everyone joining us online? Good morning, friends online. If you're online, go ahead and introduce yourselves in the chat. If you are in person, let's greet our neighbors.
Peace, salam, shalom. 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 Salam, shalom. Peace, 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 salam, shalom.
How beautiful it is to be together. We gather in gratitude this morning, turning our hearts to thanks and praise for the gift of living, in the presence of the Spirit that animates all life, and in the knowledge that we are powerfully, profoundly connected to all that is, all that has been, and all that will be. During these few minutes of silence, you can focus on something you're grateful for or someone you are remembering especially today, or just the sensation of your chair supporting you. Will you find a comfortable place in your seat and take a few easy breaths as we settle into our shared silence together? What echoes in your heart? You're invited to offer it up to the holy and lay it down in community in this sacred time together. If you're online, this is the time to share your joys and sorrows with one another in the chat. If you're in person and you have a milestone you would like added to our prayers, you can fill out a yellow card, which the ushers will collect from you. If there's a joy in your heart, place a plant from our grounds in the vase on the altar. If you have a sorrow, place a stone in the bowl. Light a candle of prayer and presence for someone you're holding close to you. If you're not sure how you're feeling, or maybe you're feeling a little antsy, there are pipe cleaners and coloring pages in the back to occupy your hands, or you may have brought needlework, which you should feel free to do. In church, we practice becoming more fully human. This is our time to take stock of how we arrive here and to take what we need, knowing that the table is set for us all. Will you join me in prayer and presence? We name aloud or in the chat those people on our hearts, living or dead, near or far, that this community might hold them in love. In this moment, bathed in silence and song, we offer our joys and sorrows alike, knowing that they are woven fine. Merritt Waite shares that his girlfriend Suki is in hospice care and is resting at home. Our prayers of compassion and comfort to you, Merritt, during this time of transition. Dory Block asks us to send healing love to Caroline Cottom. She is out in California and she fell and broke her hip. Her husband Tom is here and they miss each other a lot. We know Caroline and Tom and the beauty of their relationship, and we share your concern, Dory, and are sending our prayers of compassion and comfort to Caroline as she recovers. We are sending condolences to Emily Batchelor on the loss of her grandmother. Emily, our prayers of compassion and remembrance are with you and your family during this difficult time. Our prayers for a swift recovery are with Simon Lauer. Joanna says Simon is having his last surgery on his ankle tomorrow. We all have been delighted to see Simon upright today and yesterday at the youth group meeting. Recovery on this surgery should be much easier. So our prayers for compassion, a swift recovery, and delight that you are back with us, Simon. And good luck tomorrow. Some joys in our midst. Cindy Dillard shares that she is so grateful for our awesome youth advisors, Rebecca Johnson and Jesse Pounds, who shared laughter, pizza, and an amazing and glorious mess with our youth at Mad Splatter yesterday. Both of my children had to take showers when they got home because they were covered in paint. And we are so grateful, Rebecca and Jesse, for your service to this community. And we just send so many prayers of joy and gratitude for you and the beautiful times that you and Cindy create for our young people. And last, and is special joy. Raven Montaz shares that Taylor and I were married in our backyard on December 1st, surrounded by friends and family. Raven and Taylor, we are so delighted to have you and your beautiful young people in our midst, and our prayers of joy and gratitude for your relationship, for your family, and for your presence in this community. Spirit of life and love, God of many names and beyond all naming, source of all. A prayer of resilience, adapted from the words of Reverend Mitra Ranama from last year's Unitarian Universalist Association Side with Love campaign. This is 30 days of justice-seeking, intentional love creation, which is about to begin anew with this year's theme of freedom dreaming. So if you haven't signed up for the Side with Love 30 Days of Love emails, now is a great time to do it because it starts on Tuesday. We direct our prayer to that which is bigger than us, but within us all, the synergy of human energy, a source of possibility. We come before this great power, humbled because in truth we are loved and loving, harmed and harming people. For years we have been immersed in a cycle of shock, numbness, shocked again by our neighbors, fellow citizens, leaders, and by pandemics and political movements that try to shrink the circle of an embracing holy love. We arrive frayed by the physical, political, and emotional assault on children, women, disabled, immigrants, Black, Indigenous, people of color around the world. Frayed by the assaults on lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, asexual, intersex, queer people. Assaults on an imperfect democracy that attempts to include all. We also arrive before the great powers of the universe grateful for the love we know, the warmth we feel, the joy we can imagine, for the people who inspire, the resources we use. We say, thank you. Humbly, we ask of ourselves, of one another, of our ancestors, of our faith, of the great holy, to be aligned with what is most true and good in the universe. We pray our existence becomes an extension of what is holy. We pray to be the bodies that widen the circles of society, and we pray for resilience so we may remain engaged in the world. Reverend Ronima's words remind us, that the only hands God has are our hands. May we hold each other in becoming the co-workers of the divine. We ask these things for ourselves, for those we love, and for those we do not yet love. Amen.
Peace, salam, shalom. 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 Peace, salam, shalom.
And now we invite our children and youth to the RE Wing for snack and fellowship. Go in peace, go in love, go in joy.
Go morning. It's a pleasure to be with you all again. I'm humbled to be in community with you all, especially on this Sunday, which stands out to me as a day contextualized by some remarkable contradictions. Today, as we gather here and hold space for each other to ponder the possibilities of building beloved community, the settler colonial apartheid state of Israel plans to begin its ceasefire to temporarily halt its genocide of Palestinians. Today, we gather knowing that tomorrow, our nation will inaugurate a right-wing authoritarian and his clique of oligarchs to power on the same day that we will supposedly honor the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. As I share space with you all today, I plan to reflect on the latter, with particular emphasis on Dr. King's book and philosophy, Strength to Love. I think it's important to note that Strength to Love was published in 1963, a year of tremendous racist and anti-Black state violence and domestic terrorism. To highlight a few notable incidents, there was the murder of civil rights activist Medgar Evers by the Ku Klux Klan. There was the murder of an unarmed Black woman, Cynthia Scott, by the Detroit police, and the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing, where 4 little girls, friends of my mother, were killed. Within this context of Jim Crow white supremacy and legalized apartheid, King still had the hopeful courage to ruminate on the strength to love and the transformative potential that we can actualize if we harness that strength. King posited, "We Negroes have long dreamed of freedom, but still we are confined in an oppressive prison of segregation and discrimination. Must we respond with bitterness and cynicism? Certainly not, for this will destroy and poison our personalities. To guard ourselves from bitterness, we need the vision to see in this generation's ordeals the opportunity to transfigure both ourselves and American society." How do we conjure, nurture a vision that empowers us to see beyond our immediate ordeals? How do we transcend bitterness and cynicism and embrace love, hope, and an all-encompassing dream of freedom, especially in these times? According to King, the answer lies in the understanding that all men are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. King furthermore asserts, "I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. And you can never be what you ought to be until I am what I ought to be." King's fundamental belief in the interdependence of all life, his inclination to focus on our linked fates and what binds us together underwrite his theory of social change. This belief, once matured into practice, is solidarity. Our strength to love can be most powerfully harnessed and actualized through solidarity. Not empathy, not sympathy, but solidarity. Solidarity unites us in action against injustice and all forms of oppression and exploitation because solidarity assumes our linked fates. Solidarity presupposes what King argues in The Strength to Love. I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. And you can never be what you ought to be until I am what I ought to be. Black socialist George Jackson says it another way in his memoir, Blood in My Eye. Come together, understand the reality of our situation, understand that fascism is already here, that people are already dying who could be saved, that generations more will live poor, butchered half-lives if you fail to act. Do what must be done. Discover your humanity and your love in revolution. In both of these formulations, love is not a weak response of sentimentality, but rather a guiding light and powerful energy source and force that informs and undergirds our solidarity. This is what Dr. King meant when he preached about love in action. Khalil Gibran's formulation resonates profoundly for me in both my personal relationships and my social justice activism. Gibran contends that love is work made visible. Love is work. Love is the work made visible. What kind of work are we doing? In a world rampant with inequality, injustice, poverty, war, environmental ruin, oppression, and exploitation. Where is your work? What are you doing? Is your work visible? Can the most vulnerable who suffer disproportionately look beyond their pain and see your work? See that they have an ally, a comrade. Can they see that you love them, that you are harnessing and actualizing the strength to love through your work because you know that you will never be what you ought to be until they are what they ought to be? Can they see you, see your work, see your love for them? Because as Khalil Gibran reminds us, love is work made visible. With my remaining time, I'd like to close with a poem entitled Where We Stand. This is a political poem about the current world we inhabit and the radical subjectivity, revolutionary agency, and class consciousness required of us to confront this world together to change it. In that sense, then, this poem is also a love poem, as it is imbued with King's philosophy of the strength to love. I must confess, I have a general trepidation about writing love poems because one of my favorite poets, Amiri Baraka, once admonished that we must first clean out the world for virtue and love. And until we have accomplished that mighty goal, he says, let there be no love poems written until love can exist cleanly and freely. His commitment to creating conditions where love can exist cleanly and freely are profound to me, and I often work and create with this framework in mind. Even in my interpersonal life, I routinely critically assess whether I have created or am creating the conditions for me to love and be loved cleanly and freely. What Baraka fails to account for, however, is how the strength to love must be present and must guide us all along the way as we struggle and work towards creating the world where love can exist cleanly and freely. We can't wait till the perfect moment and conditions to employ the strength to love. We must do that with what King calls the fierce urgency of now, if we are to achieve our goal of transforming this world into something beautiful, just, loving, and liberating for us all. With that said, I'd like to now close with this poem and call to action for us. Where we stand. Tomorrow they'll say they want to make America great again. Some of us will say America must be remade again. As we confront it with force held in our interconnected fates again. Until they resurrect McCarthyism to red bait again, let them curse us as filthy socialists till the day it ends. Let us agree, as we know it's the only way we'll win. With bated breath, let the bosses inhale the wind from collective sigh and shout of alienated kin, determined to bring the ruling class to its end, crushing capitalism so it can never come again. A class in itself, for itself, is where we stand, whether you're black, white, straight, gay, queer, or trans, a movement not confined by the borders of any land, so all refugees are welcome here to build and plan. We yell down with your wall and deportation programs. We raise revolutionary fists alongside immigrant working hands. Let's mobilize in the streets, organize in the workplace. People power shall dismantle the state. Working class power will free the human race. We come to stop the tyranny of your oligarchies, expose the hypocrisy of Democrat and Republican parties. We're here to stop the transition from backward populism to fascism, here to eradicate capitalism, replace it with egalitarian socialism, believe in radical internationalism that overthrows the chokeholds of all nationalisms. We believe in the power of proletariats. So Trump, be prepared for how relentless this resistance gets. Global rulers, be prepared for a mighty clash that promises the victory of the working class. Lenin asked, what is to be done? The answer lies on the tip of a Palestinian woman's tongue. From under her keffiyeh, she yells, workers of the world, unite, organize. Let's heed her call until our revolution is realized. Let's make the whole world ours again. A class in itself, for itself, is where we stand. Thank you.
Please rise and body your spirit for our singing response, number 1054 in the Teal hymnal. Let this be a house of peace.
I've decided to change it.
Oh.
Sorry, we're switching around. We're going to do number 318 first.
Oh.
We would be one. Number 318.
Number 318 in the gray hymnal.
Yes, please still rise and body your spirit for number 318. We would be one.
Our offering this month is split with Siembra en Sí, a local grassroots organization focused on defending Latina communities from abusive employers and landlords, ICE, and bad politicos. If you'd like to make a contribution for our offering to be split with Siembra en Sí, you can do so at the link in the description of this video. You can text GIVE to the number in your order of service. You can also mail a check. Ushers will come forward to collect the offering, which will now be gratefully received. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and by this we live. And now for our closing music, number 1054 in the Teal hymnal, Let This Be a House of Peace. Please rise in body or spirit.
For
you join me in our chalice extinguishing words? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And now for the holy announcements. Teachers, RE teachers may go now to their classes with our blessing. If you are online and would like to get more connected, you can click on the link in the description of this YouTube video and let us know how we can connect with you. If you're in person, you can fill out the form at the visitors table or use the link on our website. Adult religious exploration discussing how this service speaks to our lives will be here in the sanctuary after the service. There are a few announcements in the insert in your order of service. The Exploring Membership class will be hosted today by Lonnie Hauk and Carrie Helton. It will be in Reverend Sadie's office from 11 to 12, and the focus this week is on membership and church operations. So if you're interested in becoming a member or learning more about Unitarian Universalism and how the church works, grab your coffee and go to Reverend Sadie's office. Also in Reverend Sadie's office is a basket for any notes you may have brought for Julie Hamilton, who is our longtime church administrator who has closed her time of service with the church. So those also, there's a basket in Reverend Sadie's office for that, or you can leave them in her box, and they will all get to Julie if you leave them today. Join us this afternoon at 1 in the sanctuary for the jam session. It was rescheduled from last week. You don't need to RSVP, just show up. You can see Colin for more information about that jam session. And lastly, there is a potluck next Sunday. So please be prepared to wow us with your culinary talents or your ability to buy fruit at the grocery store. All of those are welcome. So if you have questions about that, I think that Shavanta is the potluck coordinator, or Michael, whose name is still in the announcements, can also help with that. And now for our benediction.
So as we get ready to depart today, I'd like to humbly encourage and implore you all to think about Dr. King's philosophy of a strength to love as solidarity. And as you consider a strength to love as solidarity, think about Khalil Gibran's formulation of love as work made visible. Wrestling with ideas and practices of love as solidarity and as the work made visible pushes us away from abstract, individualist notions of love as emotions, thoughts, and prayers, and pushes us closer to considerations of love as concrete actions within and accountable to a larger collective and community, with the sincere aim of changing and transforming the world for the better of us all. Because as King urgently reminds us, we are all caught in an inescapable network of mutuality. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Please rise and body your spirit. Put your hands over your heart for our benediction hymn from this house.